Yo, what up, dogs? I went and saw The Creator last week. I saw it in IMAX. I was excited for this movie. I'm a big sci-fi genre fan. So I was like, finally, a new sci-fi movie to go and see. We're going to treat ourselves. We went to the west end of town, got the IMAX ticket online early. There was about like 20 tickets already pre-sold for the show. And when I got there was at least I want to say like 40 or 50 of us in the theater at that point in time, and that was great. It was just a nice experience to have with everyone around me, all of us sci-fi heads. We were there to enjoy a fresh sci-fi movie, but it's not a sci-fi movie that we haven't seen before, like story-wise. It's just a nice new presentation of such story in a sci-fi setting. You know what I'm saying? So I got the concessions, large popcorn, large drink. They didn't have any peanut butter M&Ms still, and that's all I want. I just want. I don't want to. I don't want to bring in the outside goodies to the theater all the time. I don't want to be that guy all the time. I like to try and support the theater as much as I can. But if you're not hooking me up with the treat that I need, what am I doing? So I got the Reese's Pieces mini peanut butter cups. Right? I'm like, fine, chocolate and peanut butter. It'll still do. I don't hate that. I don't hate them. It's just not the same without that candy coating around it. You guys know what I'm talking about you know what I'm talking about. We all have our favorite treat that we want when we're watching a movie that we're excited to see. That's the whole combination. That's the whole package of the theater. You know what I'm saying? And I want to point out one thing, because everyone who's been watching my videos knows I've had a lot of theater distractions lately. And I want to point out, let's just say it, no distractions at the theater this time. I can't believe it. Everyone was there and just engaged in the film, and it was awesome. Okay, I don't have anything else to say about my experience. I went at 6:45 p.m. I didn't have a nap. I just went in and like, let's do this. And oh man, I have to say, I enjoyed myself. This was a pretty good movie overall. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get into the budget first. I have a lot of notes. So let's get into the budget for this film. So this movie cost $80 million, which is amazing when you actually look at a lot of the movies that have come out recently and their big budgets, and to see what Gareth Edwards and I think he did this with ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. And to see what they were able to create and build for $80 million compared to, say, like, and I don't want to pick on Marvel movies, but Marvel movie budgets are $350 million, right? Or like quadruple the budget of this movie. And or even look at the Flash, right? Let's look at the Flash, even, like, not just to pick on one company. Let's look at DC as well, right? The Flash is horrible CGI, and that was also like another $300 million movie to make. So it kind of makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes with all this money, and compared it to the actual final product, right? So it cost $80 million. It looks beautiful. Every single penny was spent on this film, on location shoots, on the CGI, on the tech. It's beautifully well-made movie. You know what I'm saying? For the $80 million. So as of right now, I think we're 2 weeks into it. So the opening weekend box office for this movie was $14 million. And as of now, it is at a total of $20 million of my recording of this video. And the international box office is at 18 million. And that means it's a total of 38 million to date. So it needs another 50 million, right, to just cover the initial budget of 80 million to make the movie. So it probably needs to hit double that, so 160 million, to at least make the marketing budget back, and probably the 10 to 20% cut that the theater gets. And I don't think it's going to make it, which is upsetting, because this film should be in an easy, like, not even 200 million. This movie should finish its run at a very sizable 150 million to maybe 200 million. That's where this movie should get to, because sci-fi, the genre itself, not the strongest genre out there, but this is a movie that is done correctly, that should actually warrant people to come out and spend their money a little bit on this film. And it's just underperforming, which is kind of wild to me. Ever since I started doing budget side of things, I'm seeing more like about the Hollywood, and I'm just like, what is going on here? Okay, so I did a little extra stuff here. I was looking at the actual and overall like critical response numbers as well. Okay, so we got the Rotten Tomato scores, which I don't go see movies based on the Rotten Tomato scores at all. But I just thought I'd do a little reporting here. We got a 67% on the tomato meter, and the audience score is a 77%. So I could see the 77% for sure. Like, I get it. I totally get it when you see this movie. And then we have the Metacritic score, which is at 63 out of 100. And we also have the cinema score, which is a B plus. So just like I said, it's a pretty good movie. I myself, if you check it out, check out my letterbox when I actually update it. I would put this at a 3.5 star letterbox review myself. So I'm in the same category as the audience, the Metacritic, and everything else when I really sit down and think about this movie and judge it on a numerical system. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into this movie, okay? Because I got things to say. Actually, I don't have a lot to say about this film because, like I said, it's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed every minute of this movie. I didn't like. Okay, I liked the ending, but it's not the ending that I wanted. And I will talk about the ending that I wanted, or that it made me think that I wanted. Like that my creative juices were flowing after I saw this movie. And I was like, this is how I would have ended it. And we'll talk about that at the very end of the review, just like I did in The Expendables. So here we go. Let's just break this film down. Get ready for spoilers. They're happening as always. So this movie is directed by Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue Squadron. I mean, not Rogue Squadron, that's a video game. Rogue One in 2016, which I really enjoyed that film, actually. I think it's probably one of the best of the modern Star Wars movies and content that we've gotten so far. And I have not watched Andor or Ahsoka yet. You know what? Leave a comment if you think I should watch them and review them and we could talk about them. So leave that down there below, please. And he also did 2014's Godzilla, which I also saw, and I liked it because it was different. And he has a thing. Gareth has this thing of shooting really nice shots that I just like, you know? So I liked it. I liked that Godzilla too. And I remember the critical response from like the Godzilla fans were just like, it's a movie about kaijus that has no kaiju. You remember? Do you guys remember 2014's when we were ripping into Godzilla? Don't forget. We were all there. I remember it. And I was like, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I do agree. I wanted to see Godzilla. But I still remember that shot where the soldiers airdrop from the plane and they have the red smoke coming down and just going slow. And you have that score behind it. That was a beautiful scene. So, you know what I'm saying. Gareth Edwards has the ability to create beautiful scenes and block it and like just hook it up for us visually. You know what I'm saying? So he does that again in The Creator. There is a lot of really nice shots that he blocks. He's into holding the camera and moving the camera around, so we get a lot of good camera movement. And he knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He is a capable director, and I have enjoyed his last 3 movies. And I haven't seen Monster yet, so that's why I didn't list it. That was in 2010. So I haven't seen that film, which I should probably go and see it, right? Or find it and see it. So anyways, this movie is about the rift of AI simulants, which is also AIs that are robotic, that look like human, but they have robotic parts still, and humans. Okay, this is the world that we're living in. It's a modern Earth. And what happened was humans created an AI, which would be what the AI that we have today, right? We don't have the robotics yet. So they created an AI to help assist us in the world. And then they started making primitive robots. And eventually, over time, a nuclear warhead was blown up or launched and landed in Los Angeles, I believe. And that is what caused this rift between North America and, at the time, I guess the New Asia are these two power groups in the world. And North America wanted to shut down the AI program and simulants, and pretty much all that ran to New Asia. And New Asia's like, we still want to proceed with this technology. It is the future of mankind. And so we have these two warring factions, and it's mostly North America trying to just snuff out everything. So what they did was they built this system or spaceship that's called the USS Nomad, and it's called the North American Orbital Mobile Aerospace Defense. I had to write that down. So they took 10 or so years to create this big mobile defense system that floats up in the sky, and its whole primary mission is to go around New Asia and essentially nuke, or not nuke, but like just devastate any concept of secret military bases that are harboring the simulates, and they're hunting down a character named Nirmata, right? And no one knows who the Nirmata is, but the Nirmata is like kind of a ghost type character, but the intelligence department knows it as the person who is the architect and building the super weapon that could potentially take down the Nomad and just devastate, like, and put an end to the war and make the simulate slash AI rise up and take over. And the US or slash North America don't want that to happen. They want only humans on Earth. So it's a really interesting conflict that is actually kind of prevalent to today, and I really liked it. I was into the world that Gareth built for us to play in. You know what I'm saying? And I was on board. And there's some really cool tech, like just cool tech in this movie and concepts that we've seen before as sci-fi fans. You're going to see stuff in here where you're just like, that's cool, seen it, but that's cool. You know what I'm saying? And you can also definitely see a lot of the inspirations from, Apocalypse Now, Blade Runner, Akira, like just good movies that being inspired by. You can see it a lot in this film. So the film starts off with our main character, Joshua, or Joshua Taylor is his full name, and he's played by John David Washington. And this character is, when he's presented to us, we see him as a lover. And he has a baby. He has a wife, and the wife's name is Maya, who is played by Gemma Chan. And they have a relationship together. They're somewhere down in looks like Southeast Asia, so maybe Thailand, that kind of area, roughly, right? And they are just having, they're just love. It's just love, man. He loves her, she loves him. They're having a baby together. They're spending their life together, and then all of a sudden, Nomad hits, and like chaos ensues. Everyone's running around, and it turns out that Joshua Taylor is a military, like he's undercover, okay, and like he is confronted by one of the military operators that's rampaging the house, and he's like, "You're not supposed to do the mission. We called it off. Remember, blah blah blah." But then he's like, "U.S. intelligence made it a go, so you got to get out of here." And then he when he turns around, Maya's there, seeing this unfold, and her heart's broken, and she runs away because she loved him. She didn't know he was a military guy and that this was all a coup, so to speak, right? So she runs away, and then all of a sudden, Nomad drops a bomb on the area, and you just end the scene with a big explosion. And it's powerful stuff, you know what I'm saying? And this destroys Joshua because he was truly in love. Like, we find out later on that he was put on a mission to follow her and infiltrate her crew, and because they thought she would know who the Nirmata is, or was, yeah, is. And they also kind of thought she might be related to the Nirmata. So that was his goal. That was the military's operation, was to infiltrate her and figure out where this person is. So when he does that, we don't see the entire interaction between them, but they tell us that he was in there to do this thing. And what happened? Just like every other rom-com, 10 Things I Hate About You. He falls in love with the mission and marries her, has a child with her, or she's pregnant at the time. And he's heartbroken. So fast forward, after this thing, he's done with the military. He works like a 9-to-5 job at like a factory, classic Elysium kind of thing. Just the classic. He's just becomes blue collar. He's disenfranchised by the military system and the complex and all that stuff. But the military comes to him, and in the form of General Andrews approaches him, right? And that's played by Ralph Ineson, which, again, I love this dude's voice. I could just listen. I want him to narrate novels on Audible. I could listen to this dude talk for hours, man. I love his just. I would cast him in any movie if I could afford him. I would put him in anything that I make. Make a note of that. When I make movies, he's going to be in one of them. The dude. I love him. He's great. So he approaches Joshua and he's like, "We have a mission for you. We need you to do this because you're the only person that might understand where their Narmada base is because it's in southern Thailand and all that stuff. So he might know his way around things. He does, but Joshua doesn't want anything to do about that." We're also introduced to Colonel Howell, who is played by Allison Janney, and she is like going to be the one that leads the mission into this potential base of operations for the Narmada. So he gets convinced by a holographic image of his wife, Maya, who he thought was dead. And we see him go, okay, I'll do the mission. He doesn't want to do the mission. He just wants to go and find her. You know what I'm saying? That's his only thing. Because he thought she was dead for like the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And so, or not 10, but like whatever. So he's like, I gotta go see her. I need her. We gotta fix. Like he just wants to fix what happened because like he's in love. He still loves her. Like, and he is so ashamed for what happened on that fateful night. And knowing that she's alive, he's like, I could have a second chance to go and save her and like fix everything and say I'm sorry. That's all he wants to do. He has no cares about the military and what they want to do. His mission is find her and love her again. That's all he wants. So they go on the mission. Chaos ensues, and trials and tribulations are happening. But he doesn't find Maya. They raid the base. He doesn't find her, but he finds a girl who is Alfie, played by Madeleine Yuna Voyles. And it turns out that this girl is a simulate, which is a robot with AI, a robot with human facial, that's a human. It's a robot that's a human, and it's AI driven. Okay, so he finds her, and they escape, so to speak. Like she already, like it's whatever. Chaos ensues. Okay, let's just blanket that. So they escape, and they're on the run. And Allison Janney's character, Howell, and her sidekick, McBride, are on the chase for the Elfie. Because Elfie to them is a super weapon that they're trying to find. Because they raided the base because they thought the super weapon would be there, and they thought that like they're just it's not a mess. I'm just having a mess describing it. So Elfie's a super weapon, and so they're on the run, and they're also the police are chasing after them too, which is the head police officer guy that we are introduced to. The character's name is Omni, and he's played by Amar. Chadha-Patel, and the character's not fleshed out at all, this character Omni, but cool things happen to him, and it makes you go, and it just adds to the universe or the world that they've built, because this character dies and then they transplant this. They have this system that clones your brain and puts it into a disc, kind of like Altered Carbon. So you have this disc now that you can re-upload into a simulate, and he can come back. So he can be replicated over and over and over. Because we find him again, he comes back to life as the downloaded entity. You know what I'm saying? So they do this brain tech a couple times. It's actually really cool. Because like if you die and you have enough time to download the brain, it won't be a corrupt file. But if you do die and it's been like a couple hours or minutes or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you get it, you might get some fragments or a very limited amount of time that the brain will be reactivated. It's super cool tech. I really like the idea of it. And I wish they explored it a little bit more, but it's good, and it plays. It's definitely a good show and tell because it plays off at the end as well. So let's just go through this. The Colonel Howell, her whole thing is like she wants to kill all the replicants and simulants and all that stuff. She wants to get rid of them all because when her son went to war, these entities killed her sons, and she just wants revenge. She used to just be a house mom, you know what I'm saying? At least so it sounded like. She's a cool character. She's actually like Her screen time is great. She is awesome. Um, I actually really liked her in every scene she was in because like I remember my dad used to watch her in the TV show called Moms. Don't ask me. I don't know why my dad watched Moms, but she's in Moms and she was hilarious in that show. And just to see her in this more serious, dramatic like sci-fi movie, it totally throws me off a little bit because I remember seeing her in Moms. So my dad watched like every season. So shout out to the moms, to all the fans of Moms out there. This TV series, you guys are twisted on the internet, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that's her whole mission statement, and then she wants to kill the Alfie. She wants to kill the super weapon because she wants humans to take over and eradicate AI and replicants and simulants and all that because humans should be the dominant life on this earth and she doesn't want to see the robots take over, right? So I get her point of view. There's a lot of good points, POVs, point of views, and there's a lot of good ideas in this film of like you can really root for the villains because you kind of want humanity to win because you might not care for AI, and sometimes you're rooting for the AI because you're like the AI themselves. They even say it. I believe it's Harum, played by Ken Watanabe, who like literally says because he's asked like what would you guys do if you win the war. And he's just like, we just want to live. We just want to coexist. Like, there would be no war. Like, they don't want to have a war. And he even reveals that the only reason why that missile blew up LA, the nuclear missile that hit, it wasn't the AI's problem or fault. It was human error in the program code that actually caused the missile to go off. So the missile and the whole war was because of human error. And these robots just want to be left alone and go back to just coexisting. That's all they want. They don't want to fight anymore. They never wanted to fight in the first place. So it's very wild concepts for morality of who's right and who's wrong, because you could be on either side of this thing. But really, once they give you that information where it's human error that screws it up, you kind of just sit there and go, yeah, I'm with the simulates. Let's just be free people together, you know? I was rooting for the simulates the whole time. Anyways, as the movie progresses, we learn more about Alfie's abilities. And she has abilities that can literally turn off all technology. She could talk to robots. I feel like this is one of the flaws in the movie is I don't feel like they explore her abilities enough to make her feel like an all-time ultimate threat. There's scenarios where she shuts down like a border crossing. She just shuts it down, or she'll shut a robot down. But I feel like it didn't grow the gravity of how powerful this entity really is, right? I think it just needed to build up. I think we needed it into powers of 3, right? Small, medium, large, and then the big finale. But I also, when we get to the finale, let's just get there. So, get ready for some spoilers, okay? So, we find out that Maya is alive, and she is in like a Tibetan, she's in a Tibetan temple ran by like simulants, right? And it's really beautiful scenes, actually. And so they go there, and the robots say that they cannot take her life, right? They can't do it. They can't unplug the cord. It's not in their code, which I think is a story error when you watch the entire movie and you go, well, how are these robots that have been defending themselves shoot down all these humans this whole time and blow up tanks and stuff like that when you just told me we don't have that in our code to kill humans? So I'm like, are you guys stormtroopers and you're hitting nothing? You know what I'm saying? But it's a little, it's dumb. That's about it. But I liked it still. So Maya is in a stasis chamber, and she's on life support. She didn't die, right? And Joshua is like losing his shit. Like he's like in grief. Like he can't say what he wanted to say to her. But he is able to pull the plug and let her go move on, right? That's his final act of like service to her and love. But he's devastated, right? But they're under attack by Howell and McBride. A bomb. They do some funny stuff with these like proximity mines that click to people and they can't get them off and they just blow up. They do it like 2 or 3 times in the film. It's each time is hilarious. So everyone's pretty much dead, and Joshua like runs away. And then conveniently, Elfie has the brain scanner that we just talked about and scans Maya's brain and takes the chip out and the download key and like has it. So she has a copy of Mother. She calls her Mother because it turns out that Maya is the actual Nirmata, and she created Elfie based off of her baby, which didn't make it. They explain it all, and so it turns out that Elfie is actually a representation of Joshua and Maya's child that was unborn. And so that like just devastates Joshua even more, but like he starts to really care about Elfie and like loves her and treats her more of like a daughter. There's like a little lone wolf and cub kind of action in this, but Joshua's whole motivation through the whole movie isn't Elfie at all. He just wants to find Maya. That's it. And he like literally uses her, Elfie, to find Maya. He's like, find Mother, find Maya. Like, I need to find her. So that's a weird. It's just there's things in this movie that I'm like, I have to watch this movie again. I definitely want to see this movie again. So this is where the movie, we could go two ways, right? So the way that Gareth goes is now they're going to go and take down Nomad. They're tired of this. They hatch a plan. They steal a ship. They go up to the Nomad. They break in. Elfie does all her superpower stuff. She doesn't do a lot, but he sets off the bombs ready to explode out in space, and he sacrifices his life to help Elfie escape the ship so she can carry on, because that was like the most important thing, is like, you must live and carry on the mission of Mother, right? And then also like during the whole trials and tribulations, Elfie uploads Maya, like for some reason there's a skin suit of Maya on Nomad, and she gets the chip downloaded into her and she becomes awake, and it's Maya, she's alive. And then as the ship's blowing up and Elfie's escaping, Joshua and Maya are seen once again in this nice field of grain, which is like an imagery to the Elysian field, gladiator throwback. And he's like, Maya, and they embrace and everything's exploding, and it's the end of the movie, and like, it's cool, man. It's really cool. It's just like Rogue One, how the two heroes at the end die, right? Like, it's beautiful, and I totally understand what Gareth is doing here. It's all about love, and this is the final act of them together. They died together. He did save their child, and life will move on. He's able to, with Nomad gone, he's able to liberate the Earth, and their creations can carry on and live. Like, that's everything. He did it all. He sacrificed it all for Maya and Elfie. And it's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's pretty good. 3.5 stars, guys. And that's the end of the movie right there. And it's good. I do recommend you go and see this film. Go see it on a cheap night. Bring your friends. It's definitely a good date night movie. Go see it. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this film. Will I buy this movie when it comes out? 100%. That's a day one purchase. I actually look forward to watching this movie again, because there's a lot of things going on in this film that I glossed over, that I want to just go over it again, because there's just a lot going on in this film. Not in a bad way. It's just like you can get more out of a second and third viewing for sure. So this is probably a movie I'm going to watch multiple times, like once a year kind of thing, just because I feel like I need to watch it a couple more times for sure. So that's the end of the review. You guys can all leave now. I'm going to talk about how I wanted this movie to end. Because the ending that Gareth gave us, beautiful. It's good ending. It might not be the ending that we all wanted. I enjoyed the ending regardless of what he wanted to put out there. It is a good ending. But here's what I wanted, okay? I should put a graphic here. Brett's pitch. The music in this movie is great. It's by Hans Zimmer, but I really wanted like a Daft Punk synth sound way. Like, just I wanted that synth music in here. It needed it. It really needed it with all these cool robots and simulates and stuff like that. Like, it needed some kind of like maybe Trent Reznor, but Daft Punk. They should have got Daft Punk on this, man. I would have loved a soundtrack by Daft Punk to this film. Oh, for sure. I'd be pitching so hard to get that one done. And then here's the thing. Here's how I wanted this movie to end, okay? I wanted the Akira-ish ending where Elfie just goes off. Like, just loses it. Like, I was thinking, like, we could have all the scenes where she's like, she has the chip and she's getting ready to like download it into Mother or something like that, but the chip explodes. Like, the officer could have Howell should have just shot it out and you see it smash, and then like Alfie could be sitting there just like in tears because she can cry, and she could just be like starting to lose it and be like screaming like "Mother," and then like you just see it happen, like just boom, this big explosion, not an explosion but like a radiate, like, you know, just something that pushes everyone back, and then like we could see all this like mechanical stuff just start attaching herself, and then she just starts taking Nomad down. She's like shooting everybody and explosions are everywhere, and you can have Joshua telling her like, "Mother, Maya, stop, Mother's okay," or something, like, "Don't do this," and she just could lose her shit and then just explodes everything. That's what I wanted. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a messy ending, but that's what I wanted. I just wanted to see Elfie go off. Anyways, that's my idea. It's nothing new. It's just like I just wanted to see that. I just wanted to see her lose her shit and just obliterate everybody. But yeah, that's what I wanted. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I think the next movie I'm going to see is either Saw X or The Exorcist. I don't know when I'm going to see them, but those are the next ones I'm planning on seeing. I don't normally do horror movies, but hey, let's give it a go, right? Aside from that, I gotta get ready to go to work. So you guys all have a good week. And whatever movies you are watching, I hope you're digging them and loving them. Because I'm out of here. Peace out. Bye.